The father of sin's main duty is to make you feel like sin is normal and righteousness is weird. The father of sin is that particular person who made you start indulging in some activities that are very sinful you never thought you'd be able to do. The first person who gave you a vape, your first porn clip, that person who introduced you to a certain level of sin that became addictive, that is your father of sin. Now, no matter what you do, you have to avoid them at all costs. So for most of you who don't know, I started this channel with my father, not because I wanted to have somebody to have a conversation with, but because of the beautiful relationship we shared together. One of the main things that my dad taught me was that God himself sees himself as a father, and God in the office of a father makes the office of a father one of the most important offices in the family hierarchy. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 4 types of fathers, and no matter what you do, avoid the last one. Why? You don't have to ask me, just watch the video to the very end. So firstly, I would like to explain or to define what a father is. Now, most of us think that a father is the man that gave his sperms for us to be produced. But in this particular video, I'm going to tell you that that is not entirely true. A father is someone who made you exist. So with these 4 types of fathers, you would understand why each and every one is a father. So first, we are going to start with your biological father. Now, your biological father is the man who actually gave his sperm and passed down his DNA for you to exist. Therefore, you might look like him, have some of his mannerisms, or even sound like him. And if you look at me clearly, I'm like a carbon copy of my father. 90% of the time when we speak, we have the same ideologies and we even have the same mannerisms. Isn't that so cute? Yes, that's very cute. And that is from a biological father. 2, a stepdad. Now, a stepdad is the man that steps in the shoe of your biological father if your biological father, number 1, refuses to take up the responsibility to take care of you, or 2, he is deceased. So there is a man in your life that comes up and takes up the role and then helps you. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily have to be very grown. Sometimes it's an uncle, sometimes it's a friend that steps in as a dad and takes care of you, maybe an older friend, and that person can be referred to as a what? A stepdad. Sometimes too is the man that your mom gets married to even though your dad is alive. He can also be referred to as your what? Your stepdad. Number 3, your spiritual father. Now, when I say spiritual father, I do not mean God, because God indeed is our spiritual father. But when I say spiritual father, I mean what Paul was to Timothy. So Paul said to Timothy that this is my son that I have bet in the Lord, and it's because he thinks like me. He's like-minded. So what's a spiritual son? A spiritual son is somebody that you are mentoring in the faith. So most of the time, we don't realize that we have spiritual fathers, but we do. We have men in our life that teach us and guide us in the ways of the Lord. These men are regarded as your spiritual fathers. They bet you in Christ and they taught you the ways of the Lord. And the last one I told you to avoid, he's called the father of sin. Now, this is very important for you to know, because the father of sin's main duty is to make you feel like sin is normal and righteousness is weird. And this is the tactics of the devil, because once you believe that something that is sinful is normal, you no longer have any resentment against them, therefore encouraging you to constantly do them. Now, the father of sin is that particular person who made you start indulging in some activities that are very sinful you never thought you'd be able to do. For instance, remember the first person who took you to the club, the first person who gave you your first glass of alcohol, the first person who gave you the first wee bar or stick, I don't know what you guys call it, the first person who gave you a vape, the first person who gave you, I don't know, name it, your first porn clip, that person who introduced you to a certain level of sin that became addictive, that is your father of sin. Now, no matter what you do, you have to avoid this kind of people, because the first sign of a father of sin is that he tells you that sin is normal. Like, you hear people say words like, I mean, vaping is not a sin. That is a red flag. That can be a father of sin, because he's trying to normalize that sin in your sight so that you would make it what so that you would constantly be falling in that trap. Now, no matter what you do, you have to avoid them at all costs. Now, if this video was very valuable to you and you think that you have another way for us to avoid a father of sin, kindly put that in the comment section. And also, if there are some signs you have noticed about fathers of sin, you can also put that in the comment section. Or if you've noticed a type of father, you can also put that in the comment section. I would love to see your research and what you have done so far. On that note, my name continues to be Oppong-Mensah. It's bye for now.